If you missed my deck profile for week 3 of the Elestrals Championship League Season 2, you can find the link to that video down in the description below or up in the card above. But with that being said though, let's get right into the match. So starting us off, I do win the die roll, so I am going first, and I just cast out a Smoltuga, get a search for a Fire Elestral, which is great. I mean, I don't have anything to contest, so why not just throw out this buy, lets me search out an Elestral that can contest Moxie's Miller, so I just grab Nekruff. This seems like the best option. 5 attack can hit over most, if not all, of Moxie's Elestrals, depending on what he runs, and burns him for a Spirit, which is a precious resource for mill. So Moxie does open up with the Humbust here, able to cast out and just start milling. Nectar of the Gods is a great way to start it off. Finding more cards means you can find more runes to get the maximum value off a Humbust, since it can only mill up to 4 times per turn. So he finds an Amp Up off of this, presumably since he didn't cast the Amp Up first, and uses Amp Up's in-hand ability to expend a Thunder to add an Amp Up to hand. So here, 2 Amp Ups to hand, excuse me. So Moxie's already used up quite a few spirits, but at the same time, just fueling up his hand for more cards. I'm assuming he is either setting up for a golden apple that he hopes to draw into, or he has one to start discarding me and milling me more, and he does in fact have a golden apple here, so he's going to force me to discard one of his Amp Ups for the effect of golden apple, and he snipes the Resting on Your Laurels. He's happy out that I don't really mind too much. Like, I care more about the fact that Gorgon's Gaze and PTA just got milled here. Ooh, and Ambrosia for another series of mills and to loop back spirits. That's a really strong start for him, so he's not as big of a spirit deficit here. So here it does have the drops of left for the 4th mill off of Humbust, so he's definitely capitalizing on this mill here, and we see the Spark Hit actually, which is kind of terrifying. Showing back in Spark Hit plus Amp Up to start drawing. He draws 2 originally, but then remembers that it is 3, so he gets the 3rd one since drops. He shows back 2, draws that number plus 1. Here I just run out the Nekruff as well, swing over it, switch the Molsuga to attack, because if he can't answer the Amp Up, or sorry, the Nekruff here, I can just hit him for 1 spirit, which is great, but unfortunately he does have the shield here, but it is still spirits off of him, and he's used a lot of cards. So this is where Humbust can get really hard to use, is if he's running out of runes, which it kind of seems like that's the case since he didn't use any, but he still has the Cinder to mill me for 3, so I'm definitely not out of, he's definitely not out of milling options yet, but I do draw into another Resting on Your Laurels to take care of that Humbust. Getting that off the board since it has the highest potential for milling over Cinder. Run out the Nekruff again just to be able to hit over. Does have the 2nd shield, but I'm so glad that I had that Laurels to get rid of that Humbust, or else that would have been another mill too. So here, passing back over to Moxie, he can choose just to re-enchant the Cinder to try to mill me more, but he just has a 2nd one in hand, so he just mills me. Unfortunately, there goes my Rise from the Ashes, so no fun plays Resurrecting and Blazers or Trifrontal from my deck, at least for now. Hits me for 2 spirits. Not great, but also I'm not too worried since that's the most pressure he's going to put on my spirit deck. Run out the Nekruff again to run over a Cinder, and does have the Altar of Stars this time, being able to not deal with the Nekruff, but still Nexus Spirit over to Cinder, switch Nekruff to defense position, and force me to mill 3 more. It's quite strong. No more millers this time around, just throws off a Nekruff because it can hit me, force me to expend spirit, and I end up having to expend 3 here also because of the Cinder. So surprisingly, Moxie's keeping up pretty well on spirits. We're pretty much even kind of spirits on board, but he's used a lot of resources. I still got a large hand with all those shields, and I throw out a Volcaries. The reason I did this here is because it becomes really awkward with Nekruff, as once I leave up the Nekruff, it can just crash, but by throwing out the Hephaestus, Volcaries is still greater even when I do take out the Cinder. Thankfully, no shield, but again, if you use a shield, I can just recast the Volcaries the next turn anyway, and hopefully try to stabilize from there. So Moxie does find another Humbust, just casting it out here and passing it to me, not having much fuel, but clearly has a counter rune that he wants to capitalize off for Humbust. I'm actually at a pretty low deck size, all things considered. Run out the Nekruff again, attacking over the Humbust, forcing him to expend 1, hitting over the Nekruff with the Volcaries because it is bigger, and I've got backboard presence, which is great for me. That means that I've stabilized here. He ends up just passing on his turn. I throw out the Galaxy, just attacking for 3, putting him down to 2 spirits. This is not a great scenario for Moxie to be in. He just sets 1 expense to draw 1, which I realize now I missed it on the life counter here. In editing, unfortunately, I did this in pre-voiceover, but you get the idea. I just throw out a Volcaries. It doesn't change anything. It is still GG, and we're moving on to game 2. So getting into game 2 here, Moxie is on the play, starting off with an Amp Up, a really strong start just to thin his deck out of 2 cards to improve his draw chances as well as any other synergies he may have in hand. So he ends up grabbing, of course, the 2 Amp Up as always, and then transitioning. You can barely see the Spirit here, but he did expend the Spirit. He just threw it over there, unlike in the first game. So grabbing his 2 Amp Ups here, shuffling back up as in hand, and he then has a really strong start, actually. He does have the Humbust, 2nd Oper in a row. That's really, really strong here. Followed up by a Golden Apple. Oh, such a good opener here. Got some good cards in hand. I'd like to say I only have one cost Elestral, but he snipes the Nectar, or Ambrosia, which I don't really care about. 2 Helios' Chariot Ride, though, hurts. It's painful. But I do mill the Trifrontal, so I'm like, come on, Rise from the Ashes. I want to see that Rise from. I don't have it in hand. But also, again, extending great. Nectar of the Gods into drops of Leth yet again. Whew, that's strong. Just shoving back in the 1 imp up, so I'll only be drawing 2 cards. And the mills here, I missed what they were. But yeah, my mills here so far have been painful, just kind of sniping on my counter moves. It was the same thing first game. I didn't have any counter moves, and they all ended up getting milled, which is why I really wasn't able to contest much. Another Nectar of the Gods. So using up the Lost Spirits. Oh, and there goes the third healer, is Cherry, right? So I'm not utilizing that card at all this game. So he's sniping all my good counter moves before I can even set any. PR just run out of Galaxy. It can easily contest the Humbust. I also threw out there because PTA, it doesn't care. But just gets shielded again. Another shield. Dang. And milling more cards. More Gorgon's Gazes. It's not looking too hot here. For me, at least, in terms of having easy answers. Moxie does have the Ambrosia to recover 3, so being able to get some mill off, and PTA and Rise from, I'm not going to get off my fun combo here. And, oh, I nearly forgot. One thing I unfortunately forgot to do was side out. It had been a long day, and I just like, all right, game 2, I won, let's go, game 2, shuffle up, and I'm like, oh, I forgot to side. I do have the PTA here for Cinder. I figured it's worth it because, well, oh, there goes another Blazers. I figured even though he hits me for Spirits, I figured it's still worth it since Spirits is not his win condition. It's one of those situations where normally PTA might not be that great because they're losing a lot of Spirits, but here it's totally worth keeping him off of his mill. Throughout Galaxy, he does get Gorgon's Gazed, so still putting a lot of Spirit pressure on Moxie, which I don't mind, but does keep his Humbust up to keep milling me, and I'm at a low deck size already. But I'm so sad because unfortunately that means no Urseers being seen here. He does cast out the Humbust, which is a bit scary, but does pass it over me. He's got no additional runes to be able to throw out. Or did he throw it over? No, he did not. No, he did. Yeah, he did. I throw out a small 2 here. Unfortunately, I don't have any better answers here. Or no, never mind. Under Galaxy, this is great because it can pressure. Only thing that stops it is Gorgon's Gaze. And I choose not to search out here because I have all the cards I need in hand to be able to pressure Moxie. Oh, and Shield here on the small 2 gub. I just am already at such a low deck size. I do not want to risk decking out. And here I end up Gorgon's Gazing. I tried to Gorgon's Gaze Humbust, and then I'm like, hold up, that mills the exact same amount because the other Humbust would trigger off the Gorgon's Gaze. Thankfully, Moxie let me take it back. I don't know what I was thinking there. But back over to Moxie, I'm able to hit over the 1 Humbust here, and he just has the 1 set, and it's just casts out, what does he got here? It is the Boom Bat, trying to deal with the Galaxy here, and here I'm just like, Gorgon's Gaze. Like, I need to keep attackers on board. The more attackers I have, the more likely I can deal with the Humbust. This is a perfect scenario for Gorgon's Gaze, because I'm just trying to answer that Humbust. He's burnt out. I don't necessarily need to save it to prevent some mill here. So, such a low deck size, though. I think it's like 5 or 6 cards at this point. I think it's 5. So here the little pause here is because Baron was spectating saying that it would have milled 6, but I was a bit confused how I got the math, so we're just kind of figuring out why that would be. But here, Full Carries just attacks over it, Galaxy pokes for 1, and I am feeling good. Well, I shouldn't say I'm good. I'm feeling good on Spirits, but 4 cards left in deck. This is very tight game. He ends up just passing it, Moxie does, and I throw out his own grab against him, hit him for 3, and he's down to 1 Spirit. Can his top deck find him? Like, I've got 4 cards left in deck. I think now maybe 3. I can't remember if I drew after I checked the deck count. I think I did draw after deck count. Throws out the Necroth to try to pressure the Galaxy here. And here he hits over. I think he thinks it crashes when it doesn't, in fact, but at that point it's just too late. So maybe we did miss that because Necroth was at 6 attacks, so I would have won. But I was at 2 cards in deck, and of course he's just like, yeah, that's GG. So that is it, and I come out victorious 2-0 against Moxie. So I was able to bring it back with a 2-0 compared to last week. Very happy about that. It gives me a better chance to be able to make the playoffs at the end of this whole event. Though it's going to be a bit of a hard road to climb because there's still another Thunder matchup in Alex, which terrifies me, and there's also plenty of good competitors that I still have to face as well. So at least I was able to get some redemption from last week and improve my win rate. But all in all, though, Moxie got really close both games. I don't think the first game showed it off very well, but I was down to single-digit deck count. So he was very close. If he had just a bit more gas, I probably would have lost. But in that second game, you saw 2 cards left in deck. That is scary. So he did, as I expected, great with Mill. Even if he wasn't able to cross the finish line, he was very close, and kudos to him. But now I want to hear from you all. What was your favorite part of the match? I think mine was the 2 cards left in deck in that final game, because that was very tense and very hype. I'm so glad I didn't search off of that small 2 guy cast. I'd like to say it happened twice, but I could be mistaken. You can check out all my fellow casters taking part in this event. Their channel links will be down in the description below, with Moxie's right on top, everything Elestrals, since he was my opponent this week. And in the description as well, there will be a playlist for all my ECL content for you to check out if you've fallen behind, and also have the playlist linked up in the card above. And if you've enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, and turning on the notification bell so you're notified when I do upload more content, because we've got plenty of ECL weeks left to go. So look forward to more content coming out real soon.